Maria, I'm just quickly sort of beginning to record the session, if that's okay with you.
Sure, no problem. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for letting us know.
Yes. Consent.
For sure, yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's 12 o'clock. Let's begin. So you already have the introduction to our guest speakers today. They will be looking at ESG. I don't know how many times I've used this particular concept in the seminars and lectures. But today we'll be listening from the speakers who stay actively busy with drafting, advising, and also designing ESG reports and also ESG strategies. So without further ado, I leave these sessions. So Mariya and Aurora, please take away the session. I believe Mariya Genina from Kazakh German University is going to start the talk. This is going to be a joint lecture, as you know. And after that, about 20-25 minutes afterwards, we've got Aurora Diaz, who is going to take over the second part. So yeah, so let's begin. Thank you, both of you. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Rick. So Aurora, maybe I should start with the presentation and then you continue with it, right?
Of course, yeah.
Great. Okay. It's very nice to be here. I'm very pleased and honored to be here with you to discuss such a burning and relevant concept as ESG. As Rick said, my name is Mariya, and I'm currently working at Kazakh German University. My background is in environmental science and policy, but with a minor degree in business administration. And apparently, my life was always connected with environmental business. I'm running my small business myself, and somehow working around this topic. So as I said, I'm currently representing Kazakh German University. More specifically, I'm representing the Center for Natural Resources and Sustainability at this university. And I'm currently managing several projects on sustainable business development in Central Asia. And if you, no, please, yeah. And one of them is actually developing the ESG course for private companies. And yes, we can move on with the next picture. I'm not sure we can move the slides ourselves, right? Okay, let me see. Yeah. So this is just to start my presentation with this image of how we often do in our life, right? So we try to cut the branch you are sitting on. And all of my presentation is about how not to do that. Yeah. And so what will we talk about today is what is actually the ESG. Probably some of you or most of you know exactly or have some idea of what is ESG already because you are postgraduate students in international business. But we'll just review this concept. We'll understand how it's different from different other concepts that were developed before. Then we will discuss some points on why is it interesting for business. Next, we'll go into how to implement it, and I will just share with you one case on ESG, which I consider interesting and unusual and effective. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so if we start with this, what is ESG? Actually, you can read the definition here that ESG is environmental, social, and governance factors that measure a company's sustainability and ethical impact. So basically, the main point I want you to leave this session is that ESG is a measurement tool. So it's a tool that, it's a concept, it's a tool that helps companies to measure their sustainability impact, the sustainability index of the company, basically. This is the first thing. And the second thing, it is combined of three main components, which is environmental, social, and governance. And it's very easy to see what is ESG through the key performance indicators, KPIs. You can see, for example, for environmental component, the KPIs could be the energy demand and consumption, water demand and consumption, greenhouse gas emissions. For social component, it could be employees' health and safety. So basically, the company that measures the health and safety of the employees, working conditions, ethics, pay equality. And for governance, the main things are the risk management, the ethics and compliance, the corporate takeover defense, and so on. So through this slide, you can see that what is exactly the ESG about, right? And for every company, these components could be a little bit different, yeah, depending on what the company is focusing on. We will talk about it a bit later. So how is ESG different from other terms that were developed and were used before? And we are very used to the term of corporate social responsibility, right? So I would say that the corporate social responsibility, it didn't go away. It is just a little bit different. Basically, the ESG is a measurement tool for the company sustainability. So the CSR is a sustainability framework, basically the concept, the framework, but the ESG is getting a little bit wider and actually helping us to look wider and to look more complex in a complex way, and actually to measure what is exactly the level of sustainability. The second term that you might be aware of is a socially responsible investing. And also, it's a little bit different from ESG investment. For example, social responsible investment is actually helping us to add or eliminate the investments based on ethical consideration. For example, if the company is producing weapons or some, some unethical things, maybe the investors will not be supporting this company. But the ESG investing is something else. Is that the investors are looking for and looking how sustainable is the company, how transparent is the company, how ethical is it is in terms of implementing their business. So these two terms are a little bit different, they're not similar. And the governance, risk, and compliance. The key term that is similar for this ESG and the governance, risk, and compliance is governance. So basically, ESG is also looking at the governance aspects. But which aspects? It looks at aspects that are related, again, to sustainability of the company. Yeah. So as we said, it could be risk management. It could be, for example, anti-corruption measures, long-term sustainability related to governance. Yeah, but the GRC is looking at general, the governance aspects of the company. So basically all of the aspects of the governance. So it's just some slight difference. So, okay, we'll not go deep into the terminology because it might be a little bit boring. If we look at the ESG maturity path, what is it? Basically, at this table, you can see that ESG is a long-term path. It could be viewed by the company as just an obligatory thing that the company has to comply with regulations. It's obliged to for ESG reporting. For example, some companies are already obliged for ESG reporting. So, okay, we have to report, that's it. But the company can view ESG as actually as an opportunity. It can view ESG as an opportunity to improve the company return on investment, for example, or just to be a sustainable company. So it's kind of like a Maslow table, yeah, Maslow structure, basically. It depends on how you look at it. And if you look, and you can see at the 6th level that if you look at it as an excellence, Yeah, you will promote the purpose, equity, differentiation, and sustainable value creation. And actually, you will increase the value for society and entire stakeholder ecosystem. So you could achieve much higher goals with integrating ESG inside on the core of your business. So why is it interesting for business? Let's just see several reasons. Well, the first reason, of course, for the business is very important to have a competitive advantage. And if you look at the internet, you can see a lot of statistics on that, a lot of numbers. I just gave you one example here, that the survey, last year's survey of US residents by Greenprint found that 66% of respondents, basically the potential clients, would be willing to spend extra money to buy environmentally friendly products. So it's already almost 70%. It's very high. Yeah? This is for United States, but I'm sure that all over the world you can also see how this statistics is growing. Of course, if the company is ESG oriented, it's publicly publishing its reports on ESG, the clients will appreciate that. The second thing, it attracts investors and lenders. You can see in the chart in the left corner that, sorry, you can see that the proportion of ESG investments is growing. For example, for the United States, it's already 48%, yeah, of all of ESG investments that go into, basically all of all investment goes into ESG. And actually, their projection is that it can double over the next 3 years. This is a big number, right? So it's interesting in terms of investment. The third reason is that it improves financial performance, for sure. Even a small efforts towards sustainability, for example, if the company goes paperless, it goes recycling, it's making energy efficient upgrades, of course, it increases the cost of the company and also improves business bottom line. And as a consequence, it improves the return on investment. It builds the customer loyalty. It is very similar to the first reason, right? That the customers are already interested in more in environmentally friendly products, so they would be much loyal to the company that is doing environmental friendly things. You can give me like a large number of examples, right? For example, in my life, now I'm only buying like this, you know, what is it called? The soap for the dishwashing, which is completely, biologically friendly, environmental friendly. So in a biodegradable bottle, because for me it's very important, because I live outside in the countryside and I don't want to exactly, spoil my ground or soil with these chemicals. And the fifth point, it makes company operations sustainable. So it's not only financially viable, but it's also the operations of the company become much more sustainable. Okay, so you can also search the web and see a lot of more factors, but this is like the 5 main ones that I wanted to highlight. And for whom is ESG? You can ask, okay, is it obligatory for everyone or it's only for the big companies? Maybe Aurora will correct me more here because I'm still quite new for this topic. But I found that for the big companies, large public corporations, firms listed on the major stock exchanges, like the international corporations, it's now obligatory to do ESG reporting. In United States, there is a second category called comply or explain models. Basically, that the companies that are not mandatory for ESG reporting, but they can also show how they comply for ESG goals, or they can explain why they didn't report or something like that. I know that for small size and medium sized businesses, it's not required, for example, in Kazakhstan yet, but, and, you know, former CIS countries. But the, you know, in general, the investment regulations, the priorities, national priorities are already going in the side of ESG. So many companies, or even on a small scale, start looking at this concept. Okay, so, and just the last slide with this part on why is it interesting for business is the ESG ratings. You know, there is like a lot of different ESG ratings. You can see on the right corner, right bottom corner, this is example of the Total Energies company, which is assessing its ESG performance through different rating systems, rating agencies, and you can see the different rates, for example, formats. So it could be A, CI, it could be like 77 score. These ratings, they are a little bit different from each other. Some of them are focused on food quality, some of them focusing on environmental aspects more, some of them are focusing on social aspects more, different ratings. And the company chooses which ones it goes with. In the left corner, you can see that this was an article of Dr. Emily Greenfield just in the beginning of this September this year, showing that I'm not sure exactly which rating did she use here, but these were the top 10 ESG companies of 2023 with that system. Yeah. It's a wide topic. We can you can, you know, search yourself if you're interested in these different indexes and rating systems. Okay, so just very briefly, I would like to mention how to implement ESG. Okay, my company wants to implement it. What should I do? Yeah, and these are some steps, some recommendations from experts on how you can do that. First of all, you need to do the materiality assessment. What does it mean? It means you need to identify which ESG issues are most critical to your company. As I told you before, for example, if you're a water bottling company, you're interested more in environmental and water quality issues, right? You know, some recycling issues. So you need to define which issues are the critical issues for your company. If you are producing, I don't know, you're constructing buildings, you would have some other priorities, right? So it's very important not to take all of the factors, ESG factors, and try to be good for them, but you have to prioritize. Second is setting ESG goals and metrics. It's very important to set exact, you know, smart goals for your ESG strategy, and to set the metrics, basically the indicators. What would be indicators of achieving those goals? Adopting ESG data management tools. This is very interesting because there are already the ESG software, different softwares that allow companies to, you know, much more effectively collect the data, analyze the data, and report on ESG parameters, not to always doing it by yourself, you know, by your own calculations. It's very important to incorporate the ESG into your business strategy because, you know, sometimes, many times actually, for example, the CSR, the corporate social responsibility was always, for example, in Kazakhstan for sure, I would say for big companies, it was like just one of the points of the strategy. So it could be just, you know, in the end, okay, what we do? Okay, we plant the trees, or I don't know, we funded this community. We just granted them some money to, I don't know, build a school, and that was it, right? So it was not integrated or mainstreamed into the business strategy. So it's very important that ESG is mainstream in the business strategy, and that's why it will be effective. Leadership commitment, it's also important.
to ensure that ESG goals are enforced in the company. Communicate with stakeholders. Very important, because if you don't communicate to your stakeholders, you might develop your ESG goals which will not be relevant to your clients or will not be relevant to your partners. So it's very important to communicate and to collaborate. And of course, as I said before, transparent reporting and continuous improvement and learning. This will make your ESG adoption flexible and long-term. Okay, so I would like to finish my little talk today on the ESG case. You know, I wanted to give you several cases, but actually I decided to stick on one because there is so many interesting cases in the web on this. But you know, sustainable efforts of different companies. But this one goes from my previous experience of working in promoting the payment for ecosystem services schemes in Central Asia. So I'm very familiar with this case. It's just one of the cases. And I have read that Nestle, that is actually kind of the head company for this brand of Vital natural mineral water, they are now very high on ESG rating. I'm not promoting Nestle efforts, that's for sure. But I just wanted to show you this case, which was, I think, very effective in terms of stakeholder cooperation and, you know, see the win-win solutions in terms of public-private partnership and partnership with communities. So this is one slide on this case. You can see here that this was a payment for ecosystem services scheme. Some of you probably are aware of this tool. This tool is viewing not environment in terms of ecosystem services, right? So it's viewing those that provide ecosystem services, for example, those stakeholders that improve water, or they improve soil, or they improve different other ecosystem services. This would be the sellers of ecosystem services, and those that are using the benefits of it. For example, could be a big factory that is just, you know, using these resources. This could be a buyer of ecosystem services, or vice versa. If this factory is improving, for some reason it's improving water quality, or it's improving air, somehow contributing to air quality, it could be also the ecosystem service provider. So this is very briefly on PAS. And in this particular case, the problem with this company, it was about 30 years ago, that they started to see that the water that they are extracting from this soil is getting worse and worse. The quality is getting worse. And there was a choice, basically, to build the water treatment plant, which is very expensive, or to invest in working with the community and see what is the reason. And they found out that the reason for the water quality degradation was that farmers were using more and more pesticides. Farmers that were actually on the upper basin, upper watershed, they were using more and more pesticides to, you know, to produce their agricultural products. So they decided that it's very important for them to be sustainable in the same and stay in the same basin, because they already had a very good name, and they calculated the cost-benefit analysis basically and said it will be much more profitable and easy and effective for us to work with the farmers and to educate them how to you know, produce more organic products, how to use less pesticides, and they decided to fund them, actually to pay them because there was no good enough public subsidies, so they paid them to improve their you know, environmentally friendly practices in the upper basin. So at the end, they had very good results. The water quality, you know, in the long term, in 10, 15 years, now it's already 30 years, improved a lot. And the farmers also learned a lot and they started to practice much more sustainable agricultural practices. So this is just one case of how the company could be ESG oriented, you know, how to say it, at the core of the operations. So finally, just to finalize my slides, is just let's not cut the tree we're sitting on, but actually plant them and water them. I think it's much more smart solution. This is my end slide, and I'm giving the floor to Aurora. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mariya. Thank you. We might have some questions in the end. We'll take it after the lecture ends. Aurora, you are the presenter, or I'm going to make you the presenter shortly. So you're in charge of the slides.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Rick. Because in fact, I was a little bit concerned. I was not sure if Maria's presentation was really rolling up. I believe so, but it's still okay. So now it's great to know that I can control from here. So yes, thank you, Mariya. Thank you, Rick, for having us. And thank you, everyone that I cannot see, but I believe that you are there. And yes, I really would like would love to see your faces and to have some closer contact. But still, I believe that is a wonderful opportunity, that having into consideration how far we are from the far Kazakhstan, but we are joining you and being part of your today right now. So let me show you the beginning of my presentation. Very briefly, I work at Almaty Management University. Rick visited us some weeks ago. It was a pleasure having him here, but also we are colleagues in the sense that we both work very actively in the PRIME initiative at the UN Global Compact, which is the Principles for Responsible Management Education, a network that connected us and that connect many other business schools and universities all around the world. And well, I believe that this is also the right moment to remind that well, it's a wonderful opportunity to promote the responsible management education that you need and that we teachers, experts and older generations that we are expecting to see as a reality, so that we are able to help you, to nurture in you the responsible leaders that tomorrow society needs, and also today. And my title is not, I mean, I decided to call this The Future Present, because ESG is the future, but it's already here. Is the future, as Mariya just explained, for many reasons, but also the reality is that we cannot get late to this. I mean, we need to make this a reality in our lives, because it's an imperative of the societies in which we live. But firstly, let me tell you that I wanted to make this, having into consideration everything that Mariya just explained, a little bit more personal, you know, and to make you reflect a little bit about how you are going to be, as I just say, the main actors of the ESG initiatives, realities, necessities of your countries. I believe that very plausibly, you have a very different backgrounds, and you come probably from many different countries. As I know, Winchester University is a very international one. So I would love to think that you are reflecting a little bit about how your country's landscape looks like in terms of ESG. And also to think a little bit about your future. Where would you like to work in a couple of months, probably? Or where are you working right now, and how this short lesson, as many others that you have opportunity to attend, has to do with you, how you can translate this into something transformative that really affects your reality, right? And I also found that, a statement that I like it a lot, that Winchester University support precisely small businesses, student entrepreneurship, and it's quite committed to the local economy. And precisely, probably this very well reflects your realities. Many of you probably you have a small businesses, or you are planning to start them, or you are thinking about starting your own startup. Well, for many of the circumstances, I believe that a reflection about this can help you a lot. And also to think a little bit about the reality that your background geographically, but also your family circumstances, your beliefs, your values, really affect the way you're gonna deal at work. I repeat, in a couple of months. So I think that this could be a wonderful opportunity for you to reflect about all your story, about who you are, and how you could, I repeat, make these principles and these ideas a reality in your perspectives, in the big or small business, the family business, perhaps the multinational entrepreneurship, or whatever the institution in which you are going to work, or you are already working. And well, Maria mentioned perhaps just quite briefly something about, and something that I believe is important also to have into consideration, that these three perspectives, they some way also have the ability.
Aurora,
Yes.
Excuse me, are you listing the slides? Because I don't see they are listing.
That's the problem that I had with you. I'm not sure. I'm seeing that from my side. I'm listening them, but
you see. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
I hope that you are seeing right now the three circles that wonderful. Okay, that connect the three dimensions of this perspective with the SDGs. So you can see perfectly that they cover and they manage precisely to put in the first position the importance of these goals, right? So yes, my main message is that ESG could be precisely the space where opportunities and purpose meet. So for you, this is, and that's something that I wanted to reflect here. For you, this can be the future, can be the present, but also can be the place in which you take advantage, and you can make profitable, in the best sense of the word, your purpose. Having a clear purpose and being able to see much more than just your place of work, your workplace, but a place in which you can transform society, you can transform your community, your family, and etc. So yes, let me very briefly perhaps repeat a little bit some of the reasons that Maria mentioned some way, but that they are important to consider, that this concerns you, wherever you are going to work, okay? Because, I learned that you are students from international business and project management. So in any consideration that we could have about a global business landscape, the ESG is present, is already successfully considered in diverse markets, in international businesses. So this is something that you could not ignore anymore, right? But also it's about risk management, precisely because ESG factors are crucial in assessing and managing risk. But it's also something connected with investor expectation, right? How many investors are increasingly incorporating these three factors, the criteria of these three factors, into their decision-making, their daily decision-making processes. So again, understanding these practices will for sure influence finance and performance and stakeholder relations. And precisely stakeholder engagement. You are probably hearing every single lesson about this, but it's true that the real way to engage, to meet the expectations and concerns of various stakeholders could be precisely this ESG perspective. But also at the very same time, giving you some competitive advantage, adopting these criteria as Mariya mentioned, in many countries, it's just a matter of regulatory compliance. I mean, it's not something that you could do or not, but well, we are navigating in many countries that's complex environments, and we need to ensure that compliance is and legal challenges are fulfilled. And of course, project finance and funding, because right now the reality is that well, financial institutions, investors, they change their mind, and now well, they are increasingly considering the performance of the ESG performance when making financial and investment decisions. And finally, of course, and I'm not going to repeat the difference, but some way the corporate social responsibility should be for sure considered. Well, and still, of course, remember that, and I would like now to focus on this, that working for green businesses could be, why not, your future. And that's something that I decided to dive a little bit in, because perhaps we could open together well, a new perspective about how to orientate your next job searching, or the way you will some way design and tailorize your professional development. So well, now perhaps that could sound that we couldn't, of course, in just some minutes revisit all the possible roles that you could think if you would like to engage much more yourself in a ESG connected career. But I just wanted to enumerate some of them, okay? Because why not? You could become an ESG data analyst, analyzing and interpreting the data that every company already need to have into consideration, and analyzing various frameworks and standards. But also you could think about becoming a sustainability analyst or consultant, analyzing and advising on sustainable business practices, but also a CSR specialist in a specific company, working to develop and implement the initiatives and strategies of CSR. A sustainable finance specialist, why not? Which is something, as I just commented, that having into consideration the importance of project finance and funding, this is becoming much more necessary in many companies, and that could be, why not, your next role. An ESG researcher or writer in I mean, if in this, who knows, in these times you some way find your vocation, let's call it that way, and you would like to become more engaged with ESG, you could precisely develop well, what about reporting and creating articles, white papers on ESG topics for organizations that are demanding them much more often. And many others. I mean, why not to become a green marketing specialist if you have some appealing with marketing, on an ESG and compliance officer. I just mentioned the importance of regulatory compliance. Or a social impact consultant that in many also position in many other many companies is a position that is quite demanded. An ESG education and training coordinator, a climate change analyst, a ESG reporting specialist, a supply chain sustainability manager, environmental policy advisor, renewable energy project manager or analyst. I mean, there are plenty of opportunities for those that that's why not that see the importance, but also the great opportunity that this entire framework is opening for you, for young generations that really would like to make this a way of life. I mean, not only something trendy, not only something that, I mean, that to post and to receive and to improve, which is why not even something cool, okay, to get some reputation, but also, I mean, in terms of a deeper understanding of these concepts, could be, I repeat, a way of life and a way of understanding the importance of enhancing companies and widening their perspectives in terms of the ESG principles. And yes, I mean, some of the things that you could do, precisely performing as some of the roles that I just very briefly mentioned, could be to create plans like this. And I'm not I know for sure that you are familiar with Tesco, probably today you visited one of their stores, or tomorrow or yesterday. And I don't know if you have heard about the Little Helps Plan, which is, well, like the framework that they use to some way shape the approach to sustainability. Well, this is created but consultants, but specialists that analyze very well the importance of ESG and how the supermarkets could be rethink and completely review. And they created this amazing plan that, if you have opportunity to take a look, is something comprehensive, something realistic, and something that really calls, I mean, the best of you to help in achieving. But also you could advise about how to face risk like this. Sorry, I'm not sure if you can see properly this. Well, this is something created by the Task Force on Climate-Related Finance and Disclosure, which is a very a very reputed rating precisely in ESG practices. And they analyze precisely financial risk in terms of, I mean, in climate-related issues. So this is something, again, created, promoted by ESG specialists that at the same time could become your, I mean, something to develop precisely on different companies. But also, sorry, I cannot go ahead. It's just that they were very, very similar. Or you could be the specialist that your company needs to apply precisely the different environmental improvement plans that different governments are proposing and implementing in different companies. So again, this is a call perhaps to think a little bit about a new horizon that is really opening in any country. I mean, Mariya mentioned a little bit the differences between Kazakhstan very briefly and the indexes that she showed in the US. And also, I repeat, probably I have in front of me virtually people from many different countries. So, well, the requirements, that different governments demand are very different, but at the end of the day, this is something is a must already, that according to your background, but also your circumstances, you could be part of. And you could be precisely, I mean, the main actors, if you are not designing these plans, but you could be those helping and putting the best of you in implementing these plans in your companies, in international, with an international perspective, but yes, in your realities, in your communities, and making this a reality there where you are. Well, I have the impression that I went super quickly, but again, well, you have there our contact details in case you would like to discuss something, or to, I mean, feel super free to contact any of you, any of us, both of us. Here we are for any questions. And Rick, we still have, I don't know, 5 minutes.
Yeah,
left
we do.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, not entirely sure how much of those applause actually echoed back to you. Thank you very much, both of you. It was such a comprehensive overview. And I know that I did promise a lot when I titled the talk as what and why, but you also covered the how. Also indications for future career. Those of you who'd like to get involved with ESG roles, I think that was a huge plus, considering this is a postgraduate cohort that you spoke to. Let's take some questions, if that's okay with the two of you. And then, of course, we can continue with the day. Any questions, anybody? Reflections, thoughts? Yes, we've got one. Do you want to come over, actually? You can speak with them directly. You can come over. Because, it's not a David Letterman show. You can speak to them directly.
Hello, I'm Ehsan, and I have a question about a vital issue about 30 years ago. They didn't invest in water treatment system because that was so expensive, and they just informed the consumers about the pesticides and harmful something like that. Am I wrong or not? This is responsible, or they ignore their responsibility about water and consumer rights.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. If I understood it correctly, you think that working with the community was kind of like not enough effective, right? That was the question for the water quality. Well, see, what they did is that actually what they do is that they extract this water from the groundwater sources. So they are not, just taking water and cleaning it. They extract the water, and it should be natural. It should be clean. They promote it as a clean, natural mineral water. As you know, the mineral water goes directly from usually from the natural source. And this company was very proud of this, that they have this very nice natural water. So they have done the research. They actually have established partnership with the scientific university and institute. I don't remember exactly how it's called, but there is actually in my slide, there is a link to the article that you can read more about this case. So they made a scientific research. This is where actually the science business also partnerships goes in. And they identified that the key reason for water quality deterioration was that the farmers around in the watershed, they actually polluting the water. Yeah, so they're polluting groundwater. So they decided to work with the reason, the cause of it, rather than just eliminating the consequences. Yeah, of course. You can read more exactly like how they did it. Maybe in the short term, they had to clean the water because it was not enough good quality. But in the long term, over these 30 years, they avoided the big costs of treating, very expensive water treatment plant, and they invested into the key core reason of why the water was polluted. So basically, they improved the livelihoods of the farmers around, but they also improved the quality of their product, if it's clear enough. Thank you.
Fantastic. Ehsan is taking on lots of notes, but I think the key message is trying to be a part of the solution rather than being a part of the problem, which
Exactly.
is the first few steps to take. Thank you, Mariya. Very comprehensive answer as well. Thank you, Ehsan, as a great question. Very specific one as well. Molly, is correct question? Molly? Sorry, I misread your board language. Okay. Who's next? Anybody else? Any other questions? Thoughts, comments? Equally welcome. Yes. Do you want to come over? You're fine here, but microphone may not be equally fine at this stage. Right. Okay. Somebody's coming over, and he's here.
Yeah, so good afternoon. I'm additional by name. So I have a quick question. You know, as an ESG data analyst, I have a question. So what are the factors that vary across different industries? And as a data analyst, what should be prioritized in these specific sectors? I need a brief explanation on that. Thank you.
Maybe Aurora, you could take that one?
Sure. No,
Okay.
perfectly fine. Yeah, thank you. So yes, that's a crucial question, and thank you so much for raising it. Because there are plenty of different perspectives to focus that question. And still the question is that it still is quite unregulated. So the data management raises as one of the most complicated and involved questions to think from this perspective. There are a couple of general principles that could help, and they are connected with transparency, with client priority. I mean, in terms of how to. Sorry, I'm thinking in other language, which sometimes happens to me. I mean, you should also, and firstly, consider the question of privacy, which is something absolutely crucial, and still when I mean it's not regulated, but is a moral necessity and something to be very careful about. So transparency, privacy, and a quite sensitive sense of well, how important is not only for companies but also for individuals the way we manage information and knowledge, and again sensitive information of specific individuals. So I mean, we could enumerate a lot of other factors, but I believe that those could be the most important ones: transparency, privacy, and regularity and and achieving and promoting regulations that perceive the importance of personal data. Absolutely.
Thank you, Aurora. Thank you. I hope that answers the question. Yeah. We can continue the discussion as well, right? Okay. Any other thoughts, comments? Okay, the slides are on Canvas, of course. So you can obviously, thanks also for making your emails available. Continue the discussion, because that's what we do, isn't it? It's sort of Monday noon lecture, and then sort of we keep on discussing the content in seminars, and also some of you have engaged in email conversations, which I'm equally happy to sort of continue, because you can keep the conversations going. Everything is not just about the assignments. Yeah, that's just there. This is more enriching. Okay. Thank you very much, both of you, once again. Thank you very much indeed. I know that how busy you are, and we shall obviously resume the conversation. One daring attempt I would like to make before wrapping the session up. This might be a grand fail. I don't know, but I'm going to take the risk. You talked about risk a lot already. I'm going to try to take a group selfie, okay, in the reverse format. But if it does fail, obviously it's not part of your assignment. So nor is it for me. So I'm going to switch off this particular screen and switch it back to you. Okay. So this is the class that you spoke with.
Hey, great to see you. Amazing.
So guys, can you just wave very quickly? Okay. All right.
Thank you so much, guys.
So let's
Very
take a
nice to
selfie
meet you.
here if it works. Okay. Yeah, I think you've taken one. Let's see how it comes across. Thank you. Thank you once again, Aurora, Mariya.
Thank you, Rick, for having us. Yeah, amazing.
Thanks. Great insights. Great
Good
insights.
luck with everything.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye.
Uh-huh.
Have a nice evening.
You too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks.